some people have written to me asking me, for years actually, to talk about my transition period from living as a boy to living as a woman. And I haven't done that till now because there's so much is so involved, and I don't want to like put things across that can be misunderstood. Well, I haven't in the past. But anyway, I've decided to talk a little bit about things that people really need to be sure of if they're going to have like gender reassignment surgery and things. And for me, it was, I didn't see any choice ever since I was a little child. Of course, at home with your mum and dad, it's fine. But then as soon as it's in public, I was always, it was like people knew straight away. Yeah, you're a girl, you should be at the girls' school, you're this, you're that. And I was, so I got such a hard time all the way through school. And I was very, very sensitive. Oh, a lot harder now. I was very, very sensitive, see. And I'd been through a lot emotionally, like all the girls are going through everything emotionally. I was going through what they were going through. I couldn't relate to the boys at all the way through. Well, I could as human beings, but not for what boys go through at your age, at that time. I could not relate to it, and yet I could relate 100% to what the girls were telling me they were feeling and things as you're going through, you know, as you're growing up. So, of course, by 17, I went to a specialist. I'd been under a couple of specialists. I'd left home by then, long story, but it was very, very difficult time, and of course you don't want to hurt anybody or let people down, but then you have to be true to yourself. But I ended up working not long after that in shows, and they weren't like Lily Savage type shows, they were very glamorous type shows, for the headdresses and things. I was working on shows by the time I was 20, and I loved the shows. It was very glamorous, and you were wine and dine parties and travelling around party. I enjoyed that, and then I did a few shows on my own. I moved up to the North Island, did a few shows there, and it was quite a glamorous sort of thing. So it had gone from being a total freak that no one really wanted to know to a very glamorous, full of attention lifestyle. And I think for a lot of people I know who, especially even if they like part-time dressing, they think it's all glam and things. And depends on what kind of life you want to live. If you want to be, if you want to stay around the gay circles, it is quite glam. It is quite a fun sort of thing to do. But if you're moving into like the straight world, especially if you're having like surgery and things, there's a lot of things that people don't realise. It's even with the surgery, people think, you know, I'm gonna fall in love and have the man of my dreams. That's not always true, and quite often, for me, the guys would have preferred me not to have the surgery, or either that, or the men, of course, if they want a woman, they want them to be able to have children quite often. Not always, but there's always that there. And also, women get treated in an appalling way. When you're perceived as a woman, you are treated in an appalling way by men often. So it's not so glamorous. And if you end up in a relationship where you are living full time, you know, you've had your sex change and things, or even before sometimes, and you're going with a straight guy, you are at home doing the washing, doing the cooking, and that's what they expect from you. You know, which sounds attractive and lovely, but you know, not after 3 years and I don't want you. You've done a lot of self-sacrificing, or you can have ended up doing that to end up. It's just maybe, I know for some of my friends as well as me, but you know, hopefully you're more grounded. It's coming from all of this glamour, and then like being able to put on a show like that, the sex change. It changes people's perception of you. They don't know how to think of you. They can perceive you as a guy that's dressed up, because that's how they perceive you in their head. They will love you. Once you've had the surgery, they can't get their head around quite often. And it can end up a very, very lonely place, because the woman to discriminate. Women to discriminate, you're never quite one of them. And I've just had that recently, where a lady was telling me, oh, I've got a woman's intuition, you know, and I thought, well, I have that too. So, but you can't tell someone that when they want to, you know, be like that with you. So it's like, there's a lot that I was shocked by, the way I was treated, even at work. And then of course, once you've explained that you're transgender to people at work, you're treated even worse. Often once you've had your sex change. Before the sex change, it was different. Afterwards, they couldn't get their head around you. It's almost like, you know, you've gone and done something really stupid, especially if you're working with people. You know, how could you help anybody? How could you have, you know, I had a very patronising time in my last job, condescending people who thought, because of a gender condition that they don't understand, that, you know, you really didn't have a place to go to council meetings, and you really didn't have a place to. So that was, you know, another challenge, just another challenge. It's very, very challenging, the whole journey. Or people are getting dressed up in the weekend and going to a bar or something and having loads of fun. This is a serious, serious journey. I wouldn't encourage anybody to do it unless it's unless it's a condition like gender dysphoria that's life-threatening. Really, because the surgery, you can have problems with your surgery as well. I mean, I've never ever regretted it, and I've had to have my surgery redone, and all sorts of problems. I've never regretted it, but man, I never had any idea of how much I was going to have to go through. And yeah, I don't want people to, because Olivia goes out, she has lots of fun, or she used to, she doesn't anymore because I'm in Bulgaria, and people would say, you know, oh, I want to be just like you. I think you don't know, you have no idea what I've been through. You know, I'm 30 odd years, 30 years more. And people, gosh, it's a lot easier for people now. It's so much easier, but there's still discrimination, and it's still real hardship. And I've got to be grateful for the people who were pioneers. Well, I'm talking about, because of course it's transgender people in Egyptian times, but I'm talking about with the surgery, the people like April Ashley, etc. Some of these people have, blimey, you know, and I knew a lot of these old, especially the old show girls in New Zealand. New Zealand had a lot of showgirls, a lot of shows, transgender people in New Zealand, and with shows we were held either, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Very, very hard life. No one could imagine what those girls had gone through, let alone what I went through back then in New Zealand. But the show girls were stunningly beautiful, a lot of them, and especially the ones, the older ladies, they were beautiful, and the people that had started before me, that had been around since like, oh gosh, excuse me, the 70s, sort of thing, 60s, 70s, they were beautiful, stunningly beautiful, and I admired them so much. They were, and the things they'd gone through, and the things they taught me, I was very, very lucky. So, so lucky. They were harsh. Like, come on, girls, snap out of it. And I was like, oh my god. But I really appreciate them now. And a lot of them are dead. But gosh, they had such a horrific time. I feel very, very lucky. And the ladies that are transitioning today, I know it's horrible when someone says, oh, you're so lucky, because you think, well, hang on, I've got my trials too. But I think it's good. Thank God that people can go through such a difficult time and be so supported. It was so difficult for my family because there was nothing to turn to, for me because there was no one to like go to, apart from a couple of specialists, but they didn't come out in the world with you and like explain this. It wasn't on TV a lot, it wasn't on the paper. You'd have things like sex swap travels Tasman Sea to, a man has sex swap, travels to Tasman Sea to Australia to have his genitals hacked, or something, you know, these stories you used to have in the paper. And I think, oh God, thank God times have changed. Thank God times have changed. So some things in the world, I know there's probably people going to watch this thinking, you know, oh, you shouldn't be allowed, and because I have people writing that to me. But you know, you can't judge unless you've walked in someone else's shoes, unless you've been through what they've been through. How can you look at them? You have no idea. Why don't you get on with your own life and leave other people alone? For those people who are haters, oh God. But for you ladies who are like doing this, it's such a brave thing. And it can be such a great release to like be able to be yourself, especially after like years of suppression. And then to have the options to be able to have surgery and things. But unless, I mean, I did not like, from a child, I did not really like that part of my body. So it's a good thing. I parked outside the hospital several times with a razor blade, thinking I never had the guts to do it because my friend nearly died doing it. But I didn't like it. Ever since as a child, I didn't, you know, and if I ever had any kind of sexual, I did not like it. Where now it's a compromise because it's a surgery. It's never going to be, it works. I can like have feelings and orgasms and things, but it's not perfect. It's not, you know, and men, if you're honest with men, and I don't really want to have that kind of relationship where I'm not. If you're honest with men, or people, but if you're honest with men, they find it difficult often to get their head around the surgery, which is understandable, but partly too they don't fully understand what's actually going on. That's actually reversing changes pretty much that have happened from fetal stage through. So what I mean by that is like with the ovaries dropping down, becoming testes, and the vagina and everything coming out and becoming a penis. That's what happens from fetal stage. So it's trying to reverse that process, and it's using your tissue and it's not nothing plastic. Like people say, oh, but you've got a plastic. There's nothing plastic, you know. How dare you? Yeah, but it was a really for me. I'm so grateful that I've managed to have that done, and I get changed in the mirror. I can have a bath, something, and it doesn't matter what they call me. They can't really call me a man. They could call me a eunuch, I guess. Because that's not what I was. I never felt like I was one. I suppose when I was really young, I felt like I didn't really feel like a boy. I couldn't relate to them. But I could relate to myself as being like a very mixed up boy maybe, or a very sensitive person. And this has enabled me to live my life and express myself as close as I can to me. But yeah, I don't think surgery is necessary unless your mind also does not rejects that part of your body. I was lucky, everything was in tune. I looked quite feminine. I acted quite feminine. My father was always saying, stand like a man. But I thought I was. And talk for, you know, all these things. I've talked more masculine. But I was like, always say, I don't know. And I loved everything pretty, and I, you know, ever since I was a little child. So it was all there, waiting to come out, and I'm relieved that I can be myself. And I did not, also with that alignment, I did not like that part of my body. I tried to, you know, as you do, but I did not like it. And I was just felt totally alien, like a growth. It felt, which, I mean, if you didn't have the gender thing going on as well, then that would be abnormal to me. It would feel abnormal to not like that. But I had the gender thing going on, so it felt quite normal to also have this total hatred for that part of my body. I just hated it. I didn't want to something else. I just hated that on me. And it was like, you know, I went to boys' school, and I had core development in my chest when I was going through puberty. And it's like, say, this effeminate looking thing who, I was like, say, I didn't want boys looking at me. So it was like a shower, and you had to get in these communal showers and that, you know. I mean, if it was me now, it would be different. Well, a few years back it would have been different. Not now, couldn't be bothered. But a few years back I would have run it probably. Hello. But now, you know, it's like, thank God. I'm so grateful I had that done. But there's so many disillusions to womanhood. There's nothing glamorous about it. the men treat you like shit a lot of the time. There's still a huge discrimination against women all over the planet. Huge. So if you love me and you felt like a woman, didn't necessarily want to be one, I just wanted to be normal, well, fit in as much as I could, and without getting too much of a too much grief, because in those days you used to get grief or you got murdered. I didn't want too much. I wanted to be able to still be me and not have too many problems. And I felt very female inside. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I got a huge shock. Even especially after the surgery, I went from everyone wanting to go out, come on, to the surgery, and they all couldn't quite get your head around. They couldn't quite get their head around it. Yeah. In the clubs and things where there's people like us all there, it was great. I liked to go to those because it's like I got lots of attention from people and acceptance from people. But in the straight world, it still can be a struggle to be accepted. And it can be, if you've moved right into the straight world and you're not with a partner, man, it can be very, very lonely, and you have to be very, very strong. Unless, of course, you've got family behind you. Anyway, I just wanted to make a video about trying to de-glamorise, not trying to de-glamorise this whole transgender thing. But I've known a few people who have committed suicide in my lifetime who thought they were going to have a sex change and be this wonderful, and it doesn't work like that. I'm going to be a star. But they also like having sex with their penis. So, in that way, it's like, if you have a surgery, you're going to miss that. You're going to miss it because it's always a compromise. That is the dog drinking, by the way. Okay, anyway, so that's it. I just wanted to reply to some of these mails and talk a little bit. I will go through the whole process, and maybe I'll keep going to start this life story. I'll do it very, very brave because I want to be very, very honest about it all. And it's a long thing, and I have people asking me when you're going to start that. Soon, maybe I'll sit in my garden with a laptop and film it with some flowers around me, so some of the ugliness of some of the things I went through doesn't sound too because it's all the beautiful things in my life as well. But the life and transitioning of it all. So, thanks for watching. I hope this I don't think this is going to help anybody. Just really, no, be realistic before you have surgery, or before you even go to Charing Cross or something for an appointment, because once you start that process, there's a pressure on you almost to have it done that you put on yourself. It's like, I've been now, maybe if I don't have it done, I might never get it done. So be really, really careful. Be really, really careful of making sure this is what you need. It has to be what you need, not just it's what you want. It's not a game. Really isn't a game, because you can live your life as a woman on hormones just as completely with everything, with your biological body. If you can accept that about yourself, if you've enjoyed life with that, stay like that. The men like that. The men like that more. If you have relationships with men. So, Leah, what are you doing? Dog. Okay, well, thanks guys, thanks for watching. It's not very clear, this video. I haven't done it very well. But I will do a proper, I'm going to do a proper one talking about my transition, my experience, which was some of the people I knew, without mentioning any names, but some very lovely, lovely characters, I mean, that were around when I was transitioning. The most wonderful people. It's the people that you meet in this journey. That's wonderful. The people like us who have so much character, and the character is much more than just old classic old beauty. The character is more beautiful than anything to me, of these people, of us ladies. We always have character, and there's so many gifted people that are creative and artistic and musical. I'm so privileged to have met the people I've met and to have gone through this journey. But I want people to know it's got to be for the right reasons, because it's not all. Life brings up a whole new set of changes each time you go through, like the first transition of hormones and everything, then the surgeries. It all brings up another set of challenges to deal with. It doesn't stop there, and then you're living as a woman, and women are in a challenge all the time to find equality, to be treated decently, the sexist way that you talk to, you know, if you've been raped, if you can get raped as before your surgery, let alone afterwards. That is not a nice experience, and I know, because I've been through it. I've been through that, and I was shocked. I went to the police in New Zealand. The second time I didn't bother. Because I was too scared of their reaction. The first time, they didn't want to know. They didn't want to know. And I was like bleeding and in a terrible state. So, you know, things have changed a lot. Thank God. These days, if you get attacked or something, you can go to the police and get support usually. And so you should. Especially when you're working and contributing to society. You know, and you're not harming anybody. So that's, yeah. Anyway, waffling. Didn't mean to. I was going to make this a more focused video, but I'm waffling. So thanks for watching, and I hope this might benefit somebody. Really, somebody. Ciao. Good luck.